Everybody wants to feel attractive, and a man's not going to feel attractive if he feels like this is a mercy, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And it happens.
Did you push record?
Thanks for tuning back into Second Act TV. Robert Manni's joining me for another segment, which I think you're really going to enjoy. It'll either hit home or not, and that is how in sync are you sexually with your partner? Be it a long-term marriage, a new relationship, and how important is that to a relationship? Robert, thanks so much for staying over.
Thank you, Silka. Great to be here. Hi, everybody.
We will link, of course, to our other segments with Robert. Robert is the radio host of KCAA's Guys Guy Radio and the author of The Guy's Guide to Love, the successor to, as it has been called, to Sex and the City. So you speak very openly and honestly on behalf of men what women perhaps need to know, what men won't tell them, etc. So that's why we have you on. And the topic of intimacy, sexuality, and how important that is in a couple's life, to a man, to a woman, sensitive topic.
Mm-hmm. Well, to start with, men don't communicate, as we know, the same way women do. And I think what's important for women to know that, if a man's not saying anything, he's usually satisfied with the relationship. If he has an issue, and I can't speak for every man, but for a lot of guys, I would say this is directionally true, that if a guy has an issue that's really bothering him, he'll bring it up. And he's going to listen to your answer, and then he's going to accept the answer and say, like, we don't agree on that. And then it depends on what the issue is. Whereas women want to, talk about how do you feel about things a lot more than guys do. Guys want to, if this is an issue, we're going to fix it or not. And that's, you want to find some common ground there. It's the same for sex. Everybody's had relationships where, like, wow, the sex was great, and afterwards you're staring at each other and like looking at your watch, and it's still a great relationship for what it was and what it had to offer. I had a relationship, it was 18 months. I used to get together with this woman. She was tremendous. We really liked each other, but we spent every weekend, we would get together and we'd have sex all weekend. And then we wouldn't see each other during the week. And we did this for 18 months, and then it just blew up, and we broke up. And it was the right thing to do. It had run its course, and everything was great. There's nothing but positive vibes there, and it didn't work out long term. Was there anything wrong with that? Was that a failure? No. But in other areas, we were not in sync. Mm-hmm. Now, there's other relationships that and I'm sure everybody else has had, where you really get along, and everything, the values are the same, how you view people, how you view money, and all of that. And maybe you're a little bit different. The guy's more of a highly sexual, or the women's more highly sexual. Yeah. Well, if you're completely out of sync, that's going to be an issue. Or if the sex is terrible, it's going to be an issue. If you're somewhere directionally in the same area, that's really good. And you can work with that. And people can adapt, and people want to please their partners. But if it becomes over time where, let's say the guy is a 9.5 on the horny scale and the woman was a 6, and she's dropped down to a 3, that's going to become an issue. And maybe the guy's not going to, he'll try to bring it up, but it's a tough subject because the guy doesn't want a mercy F blank. It's like they want to be loved. Everybody wants to feel attractive. And a man's not going to feel attractive if he feels like this is a mercy, whatever. And it happens. And long term, that's going to create some kind of underlying, well, she really doesn't want me. And maybe some other women out there find me more attractive that way, and vice versa. So you want to get into sync sexually. It's a very important component of a relationship, whether neither of you want sex, or you both want a lot of sex, or one wants more sex than the other person. It is an elephant in the room that people have trouble talking about. But it needs to be addressed if it becomes an issue. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be an issue. Some people have very great sex lives throughout their relationship, and that's wonderful. And it's a glue that can keep them together and get through other things, like you have makeup sex or whatever. And other couples, they don't have makeup sex. Yeah. Everybody's different, but you want to be simpatico with your partner. And as you've stated, Silka, people change. And when you change, sex could be part of that change. You want to make sure that you don't go too far off on divergent paths.
Yeah. Well, let's touch on the whole subject of rediscovering sensuality
Mhm.
because we're talking, of course, to couples in this segment, be there long term or short term for that matter. I mean, you can lose interest quickly in
Mhm.
sex depending
Right.
on what it is, and of course, with all the other issues that we encounter as we age, and that's our primary demographic. Uh, We've recently just started, matter of fact, I interviewed her last week, Tiffany Yelverton. She's one of our sexual health experts. And we very openly discussed, recreating desire and
Mhm.
rediscovering your body with toys.
Right. Well, that's cool. I mean, listen, everybody wants to add something into the relationship to spice it up or whatever. So I think what happens is, you like toys or you don't like toys. It depends what the toys are and where they're going. There's a lot of things that have to do with that. But what I think what happens with men a lot is they're creatures of habit. So they like you in the black fishnet stockings or whatever. They want that every week. They want the routine. It's like it becomes a routine is not the word I'm looking for, but it
A
becomes
habit or
yeah, even more than a habit, and that puts pressure on a woman because sometimes a woman just wants to be the woman wants to be just playful and not have to get all decked out and everything. And a lot of times guys are like, "This is what turns me on." It's because we have so much, we have Instagram and all this other stuff that guys can get visually titillated whenever they want. And it's an issue because a lot of guys overindulge with that because it's so available nowadays.
well,
So when we get into the fantasy land and the toys and all that stuff, there's stimulation, but there's also, what the significance is, a power exchange or whatever. And you don't want to get into routine. That was the word I was looking for. Forgive me. But if something becomes a routine, that's not fun for the person who's kind of delivering up to the other person, unless they're both into it. Like, okay, I'm the master and you're the sub, and that's it. And like they both members of the relationship are very comfortable. Congratulations, you just hit a home run. But if one person's like, do I have to drag him around by his collar again? Again, I could see it once in a while, but whatever. But everybody has to get, particularly nowadays where there's so many options, and you say toys and all, it can get serious, and people take this stuff seriously. And like you gotta get okay, we have to find what works for us, and that could create a lot of issues because some people like vanilla ice cream and some people like chocolate. You know how it is.
well, so you brought up something that I just know. Are you saying, and make sure I understood this correctly, that men like routine?
I think if they find something they like from their
Yeah.
woman, they want it all the time. And
Okay.
they're comfortable. It doesn't have to be, you
So
don't have
don't
to change
change up
anything.
set. Don't
If
worry.
you do this and you wear this and I like that, you can do it every Saturday night
That
and
is
I'm happy. That's how a lot of guys are.
so if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, that's not a bad thing because that's what your guy likes.
If the woman's cool with that, if she's
Well, I'm
not,
not
if
even
she's like, I
necessarily
gotta
even
do that
talking about any.
again,
Yeah.
like because she might be doing it for him, it's like I have to do like how about for me? Because guys can get greedy that way, and I think anybody can. You have to find where if when it becomes routine, when the routine becomes routine, that's not good because then one person's kind of taking care of the other person's fantasy or needs or whatever. So you want it to be playful where it works both ways. So if my advice to women would be, don't let your guy make his thing routine become routine for you because if it does you're going to be
You
bitter
have to
about it
enjoy it.
because like is he into me or is he into what he's conjured up in his head that I'm superwoman or whatever it is and then there's pressure on you and that's not fair and you know what guys fall into that all the time.
What the reason that I brought up, the whole subject with toys is because for women, especially again of our generation, there's a lot of that haven't even have an orgasm until later. Now that we're talking about this, a woman might have been in a marriage and never really, felt that pleasure, or you haven't had sex for a while because of changes, and that is
Right.
such an effective way to get the stimulation you need to get your body excited and to get
Right.
ready for your partner. Um, do you think men are intimidated by toys?
Well, I give you a personal story. I was with somebody and she pulled out this little vibrator thing, very small thing. She says, "How about this?" And I'm like, I looked at it, I'm like, "I'll put it over here. I'll take care of this." All right. Battery's not included here. Don't worry about it. But that's me because I could be a jerk that way. But you know what? I made sure like you're not going to need that when you're with me. But if that's what was really she wanted to float her boat, fine, whatever. But I just did that kind of as a show, like we don't need that, honey. But so if guys don't need toys per se, they need scenarios.
Hmm.
It's more of a mental thing instead of a physical stimulation thing with guys,
Interesting.
in my opinion. And I
Interesting.
can't speak for every guy because every guy's different, but it's more of a theater, more of a drama thing where, the power exchange and all of that. Guys, if they find something that turns them on and it's like boing, then they'll if that works, they want it all the time. Where women are a little more complicated that way than men are.
Yeah. Well, we want to feel desired for one.
Right, right.
That's, and there is
Sure.
sex starts up here for us.
Right, right,
And if we don't feel that, then that's, yeah, we become resentful.
right.
Absolutely. We're starting to come to the end of the segment. I want to
It's
leave.
pretty crazy segment.
No, but it's yeah, I totally went a whole different way than I thought. But I think that's interesting. So if you are this may be our closing question. You're in a relationship, long-term relationship. There is still love left. I mean, I think that's the bottom line to any issue you have. If there's love left, you can overcome anything. But to
Great.
rekindle sensuality, your sexuality, from a man's perspective, what would you tell a woman?
I would say, if I know you like to put the sweats on at night or whatever, and you're going to watch Netflix or whatever, think about it. At a certain point, when we first started dating, would I have been doing this with him on the third date or whatever? Probably not. So just keep it in mind, like, okay, it's good to be comfortable, but maybe, some people sleep naked,
Yeah.
some people sleep in a nightgown, some people sleep in pajamas, whatever. But you know what? You got to bring it a little bit. You got to titillate. You got just like don't take it for granted. Don't take your partner for granted. Men and women.
And women.
Just remember, you got another person there. Always be dating. Always be coming from a loving place. And always, I agree with you that sex. This is a big sex muscle, but also, you have to me, when you're having sex with anybody, you're exchanging energy. So don't be indiscriminate about sex going out there. You want to have sex with somebody that you like, and you should better like your partner or get a new partner. Because if you don't like your partner and you're just kind of giving it up, just like, and, this will put him to sleep or whatever, that's the wrong relationship. If you got problems,
Yeah.
you want to be able to make it work and be fun and loving for everybody. And just the word sex, people have to be really careful not to have indiscriminate sex, in my opinion. You have to like the person. If you don't like the person, my advice would be don't have sex with them, even if they're the hottest thing going, because you're exchanging energy. I don't think it's a good thing. I think you really have to like somebody to have sex that works.
Oh, I agree. Well, and if you're in a relationship with somebody you don't like, then that to me is a signal that relationship is not, to get out of it.
Yeah.
That's my comment, that if there's love left,
Right.
you can
Yeah.
fix anything. So, Robert, well, good segment. You need to do a radio show. You probably have, but it's a topic that people don't know how to talk about. They're afraid to talk, including me. I mean, I can talk to you about this much easier here with potentially the world listening than in my own life. So we get it. So thank you for listening, Robert. We'll hold you over for one more segment and see you next time on Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
All right.
If you haven't already done so, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see that little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. You'll be notified every time we launch a new video. See you next time.